Welcome to another story made by Oracle One. The dawn light filtered through the glass facade of the towering Neurone complex, igniting the sleek steel and chrome in ribbons of gold. Inside, in a cavernous hall, thousands of youths gathered, their faces illuminated by the glow of holoscreens and neon displays. The Helix Games were about to begin, a spectacle where teenagers competed in a virtual reality contest like no other. Victory meant glory and fortune. Defeat meant something far less desirable. For in the Helix Games, the stakes were not just lives but the very fabric of their existence, their DNA. The world had changed drastically since the discovery of neurogenic editing via direct digital interfaces. Genetic manipulation had become instantaneous. No longer limited to slow chemical processes in labs, the integration of genome rewriting into the neural cortex processors meant DNA could be altered through data transmission. Governments and corporations, aiming to control society, had weaponized this capability into the Helix Games. The games were a test disguised as entertainment, where losers were forcibly recalibrated, their DNA rewritten and their traits altered to fit social molds dictated by the state. At 16 years old, Aaron Blake was one of the participants. He stood on the verge of the massive entrance to the Helix Arena, a colossal dome buzzing with energy and levitating tech platforms. His dark eyes narrowed with determination as he adjusted the sleek VR headgear over his scalp interface, the thin biofiber cables snaking down into his neck and wrists. Aaron was a skilled gamer, a rebel in heart but pragmatic in mind. The Helix Games were notorious for rewriting losers' DNA to induce docility, reduce cognitive abilities, or worse, reassign competence to physical laborers. Losing meant death in social terms, a loss of identity. He remembered the conversation with his sister, Lila, earlier that morning. "Don't forget why you're doing this, Aaron. They say it's just a game, but your DNA is the battleground. Win, so you can change everything." She was a hacker underground who believed in overthrowing the system with knowledge and code rather than bloodshed. Their family had once been considered genetic elite for their unique talents, but after descent, they had been deemed enemies. The Helix Games was their only shot at survival and maybe something more. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena. "Welcome competitors and viewers to the Helix Games Stage 5, the Synthetic Nexus. Today's challenge will test your skills, reflexes, strategy, and your very essence." The 14 contenders were hustled into individual pods. The pods sealed with a hiss, releasing a faint lavender mist designed to heighten sensory acuity. Their consciousness was pulled into the virtual realm, a hyperreal landscape known as the Synthetic Nexus. The game world was vast, a sprawling cityscape that combined cyberpunk aesthetics with sprawling digital crystalline forests. Streets pulsed with neon signs, flickers of augmented reality, and cryptic data streams flowing like rivers beneath the sidewalks. The players' avatars appeared alongside spectral guides, AI assistants encoded to provide hints but never direct answers. Aaron's avatar was a lithe figure garbed in a dark nanofiber cloak, with eyes glowing faintly blue. As his awareness synced fully with the digital city, he could feel the rush of data flowing through every synapse, amplified reflexes making every movement precise. His objective was clear: survive a series of trials, capture critical data nodes, and thwart other players who would attempt to corral him into fatal traps. Unlike ordinary games, the Helix Games manipulated the consciousness itself. Each competitor's biological data was streamed into a central core operated by the Genome Authority, a government body controlling the genetic databases. The data collected during play would determine the rewrite sequences should a player lose. The AI algorithms monitored heart rate, adrenaline spikes, decision-making patterns, and most importantly, genetic markers associated with skill retention. A player who lost would be forced into biochemical reboot cycles, their DNA rewritten to limit troublesome characteristics such as independence or intelligence. Aaron knew this well, having witnessed friends return after their loss, with vacant expressions, diminished curiosity, and altered physical traits. The horror of becoming an automaton fueled his resolve to win. Round 1 began with the echo of a synthetic gong. Each player launched into the street maze, the digital city unfolding like a living puzzle. Data nodes blinked intermittently, fields of light that, when secured, granted code augmentations. Aaron hailed toward the north sector, scouting for nodes least likely to be congested. As he moved through virtual alleyways that shimmered with augmented graffiti, a surge of information flooded his synapses: security grids, enemy positions, tactical weak points. He hacked the terminal of a nearby data kiosk remotely, extracting encryption layers and rerouting packets to create a temporary cloaking effect. From across the virtual horizon, a rival competitor named Maya appeared. She was notorious for aggressive play and ruthless sabotage. Her avatar was a towering figure with crimson armor, imposing and deadly. She locked an aiming reticle onto Aaron from a rooftop. "Got you." Maya's voice crackled through their neural comms, a taunt as cold as digital ice. Aaron smiled slyly and invoked his cloaking protocol, vanishing from sight. Instead of fleeing, he activated a simulated pulse, a localized electromagnetic burst that scrambled enemy sensors. The chase was on. The digital city was the battleground and playground rolled into one, each street housing shifting challenges. Time-limited puzzles, augmented reality combat, and data decryption sequences tested the player's reflexes and wits. Aaron's mind raced, weaving strategy with instinct. Near the neon-lit central square stood the largest data node yet, the Helix core. Capturing it meant massive code upgrades but also painted a target on one's back. As Aaron prepared to claim it, Maya's avatar reappeared, forcing him into an aerial duel atop skyscraper rooftops that seemed to fold into the virtual abyss. The fight was ballet and battle, cloaked swords meeting beams of energy, hacking attempts overlaid in frenzied streams of code. Suddenly, the virtual world flickered. Jarring ripples like glitches coursed through the cityscape. It was not a bug but a sign. The Helix Games always harbored deeper secrets beneath the spectacle. Aaron dodged a lethal strike from Maya and countered by plunging a nanoblade into her digital flank. Her avatar staggered but, before fading, she whispered, "You don't know what you're fighting for. They use us. The rewrite, it's slavery." The holographic corpse dissolved. Aaron stood victorious but uneasy. The arena administrators announced the scoreboard updated. Aaron was in the top 3. But beyond the crowds and cheers, the Genome Authority's covert operators were already programming rewrite sequences. Should Aaron lose later, they were prepared to lock his genome into a docile worker state, erasing the rebellious spark in his mind. Round 2 plunged the players into a treacherous synthetic jungle, feral AI wildlife, bioengineered traps, and shifting terrain that responded to emotional feedback. Here, players needed to rely on intuition and genetic memory, as the environment adapted to their DNA sequences. As Aaron ventured deeper, he approached a ruined temple where enigmatic data glyphs hovered around an altar. The glyphs pulsed with genetic codes, sequences from ancient human ancestors and synthetic constructs. Aaron realized this was a genome relic, a hidden cache capable of restoring or rewriting DNA strands outside the Genome Authority's control. Just as he stretched to claim the relic, the environment warped violently. A new player appeared, an unknown contender with an avatar shrouded in shadows. The stranger moved with uncanny precision, wielding abilities Aaron had never seen. Virtual shifts of genetic sequences mid-battle allowing rapid evolution. "You seek to disrupt the order," the stranger spoke in distorted tones. "This game is control, but I offer freedom." A battle of ideologies wove through the fight. Aaron barely escaped but kept the genome relic safe. He realized then the Helix Games was more than a contest. It was a front for genetic enslavement cloaked in entertainment, but seeds of revolution were buried in its code. Outside the games, Lila hacked news feeds, leaking information about the Genome Authority's abuses. A growing underground network rallied behind Aaron's fight, spreading calls for the rewrite operations to be shut down. As the final rounds approached, the remaining competitors faced a surreal challenge: melding consciousness with the virtual city's core AI. Those who failed risked having their DNA overwritten instantly, their minds synced permanently with the system's obedience protocols. Aaron braced for the ultimate test, a cognitive labyrinth designed to prune rebellious traits from genetic codes. Inside the labyrinth, time and space twisted. Memories, emotions, and biological impulses projected as vivid digital specters. Aaron confronted simulations of his own fears and hopes, battling illusions that attempted to reprogram his essence. His sister Lila's voice echoed in his mind, a beacon of resistance. "Remember who you are, the spark no code can erase." Summoning willpower, Aaron shattered layers of false code, escaping the labyrinth's grip. With terminal code hacks salvaged from the genome relic, he injected an override protocol into the game's central AI. The system shuddered, then exploded in cascades of liberated genetic sequences. The spectators saw the virtual skyline shift, revealing the true nature of the Helix Games, not as a cage but as a battleground where DNA could be reclaimed. Aaron emerged victorious, not just over other players but over a regime controlling life itself. The Genome Authority's grip fractured as players linked through the network, sharing restored genetic memories once suppressed. Society stirred, reawakening to a new future where identity was no longer governed by code but choice. Aaron looked over the horizon, the dawn of a new era painted in bioluminescent light. The Helix Games were over, but the fight for genetic freedom had only begun. For more stories, like and subscribe.